Hey guys, welcome to another video. Tonight we're going to be showing you the join as you go method. This method is a super fun way of joining your granny squares. I was a little intimidated by it at first. I admit that I have been crocheting for several years now and for many years, and I only learned this method a couple months ago. And once I started, I couldn't stop. So if you're anything like me and you've watched countless tutorials, just grab your yarn and hook and do it. Just do it because it's so much fun. You don't have a pile of granny squares building up around your house that you have to sew together at the end of the day, or at the end of your project, I should say. It's super fun and it's really easy. So let's get to it. So right now I've got 4 would-be squares. I've got 1 completed in our 3 centers here that need their 4th row around them. So it doesn't matter which corner of the blanket you start in. It doesn't matter if you work rows or columns or if you work diagonally. I like to do diagonally sometimes. And I did in fact work diagonally when I worked up my Sunburst blanket pattern. I was so excited to get to the colored parts. So it doesn't matter which way you work it up, it'll all turn out fine in the end. You can mix it up halfway through by finishing off columns and rows. If you're started diagonally, it doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is how you start. So to start, you complete 1 full square. That's it. The rest of them, we join to that square in any way we'd like. Okay, so I'm going to set this one aside here and I'll just use our colors. Oh. So we are going to complete 2 sides of this square. Okay, the 3rd side we're going to attach to our initial or first granny square, and then we're going to come back down around and tie it off. All right, so we're going to work the bottom, the side, attach it to the square, and work back down this way. I'm going to assume that you know all of your stitches by now. And if you don't, no problem. Have a look on YouTube, get up to speed. I'm not going to spend too much time going over it because I think we're all just here to learn how to join our granny squares as we go. So the way I attach yarn is by throwing it over my hook like that. We're going to work into any of the spaces around your 3rd round here. Doesn't matter which one, just pick any. You're going to pull through like so. Drop the tail and you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to be working trebles into this corner space. All right. The Sunburst granny square actually has a really beautiful 4th round that turns it into a really nice square. So it uses different sizes of stitches to get that effect. So in the corners, we start out with our trebles. So we're going to wrap our yarn twice around the hook, insert our hook into that space and pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that one more time, just like so. So your first chain 3 here actually counts as your first treble, all right? So we have 1, 2, 3 trebles, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to work 3 more trebles into this corner. So wrap your yarn twice, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Oops. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my yarn here. Okay, so that's your first corner complete. Now we're going to work 3 double crochets into the next space. Note that I did not chain in between my clusters here. No chaining, okay? In the next space, we're going to work 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then in this next space, we're going to work double crochets, our 3 double crochets again. Okay, in the corner, we're going to do our trebles. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oop, 3. So we've completed our first and our second corner here. So technically it would be upside down like that. And we're going to work along here until we get to the corner, and then we're going to start attaching it to our first granny square. So if you remember, we do 3 double crochets. Sorry, 3 half doubles and then another 3 double crochets. Now we're at our third corner, and we're going to work 3 trebles into this space. Oops, wrong way. Okay, and we are going to chain 1. So you'll see why in a minute, but just chain 1 for now. We're going to pull our granny square down, and we are going to attach along this row here by inserting our hook. I'm just going to switch it around. Inserting our hook into the corner, grabbing our yarn, wrapping it, and pulling through. Okay, so you're just completing a slip stitch essentially. And then we're going to chain 1. All right, so that's on there. That's not going anywhere. Okay, you're officially attached. So if you remember, in these other corners, we had a chain 3. Over here now, what we've done is we've chained 1, slip stitch, which counts as 1, and then we chained 1 again. Okay, so that's our 3 in the corner. So now we're going to complete the corner using 3 trebles. Okay, back into our working granny is what we'll call it, our working granny. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so they're supposed to come together like this. And don't worry, it does seem a little fiddly at first, but you will learn how to manipulate it and it'll be just fine. So don't let that scare you off. So we're going to continue along this row here. We're going to insert our hook in the space. We're going down through. We're going to yarn over and slip stitch it through. And you're just going to tug on that gently. Okay, we want to cinch it up so it's nice and tight. And we're going to continue on. Okay, we're going to work 3 double crochets into our next space. 1, 2, 3. And into the next space, we're going to insert our hook. Okay, yarn over, pull through, cinch it down, and do our 3 half double crochets. Insert into your original granny, yarn over, pull through, and we're going to complete our double crochets. 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, insert, yarn over, cinch it down, and now we're on to our trebles. Okay, so wrap that yarn twice and work 3 trebles into the corner here, or what will be your corner. Right now it's just a space, right? Oh, I keep getting hung up. There we go. Now we're going to do the same. We're going to stop, we're going to chain 1. So we've attached it along here. Now we just need to cinch it into that corner. So we're going to insert our hook into the corner, yarn over, pull through and cinch it up, and chain 1. Okay, and we're going to finish off our trebles in this same corner. So work our 3 trebles. 1, oy, oy, oy. All fumbly tonight. 1, 2, 3. So there you go. You've attached one side. Now we just have to finish the top of our granny over here. Okay? We're going to work our 3 double crochets. Our 3 half double crochets. And our 3 double crochets. And once we finish those, we're going to attach, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our chain 3 here. Okay? Just like so. All right. So that's your first one complete. Cut your yarn, fasten it off here, flip it over, and we're going to sew in this end. Stay on top of those ends. Trust me. Trust me, you do not want to leave it till the end. I was very proud of myself this time. I managed to sew in all my ends as I went because I learned my lesson the hard way in the previous project. I finished a Starburst blanket pattern a few weeks ago and I didn't sew in any of the ends and it ended up being like 2,000 ends that took me 2-3 days to sew in. It was devastating. I will never make that mistake again. For those of you who have not watched any of my other tutorials, I love to throw in a square knot and then sew these ends together. I'm usually selling my blankets to people who are buying them as baby gifts, and I figure they're going to be washed and put in the dryer and beat up and chewed on if their kids are anything like mine, so I like to make sure that they're really secure. I throw that knot in there. Okay, cut off your yarn. And that's it. You have 2 beautiful granny squares joined together. So you can see they're just the tiny little slip stitches here, and it makes it a nice invisible seam. And once you get going and you add more squares to the mix, it really flattens out and it looks quite beautiful. And once you get your blanket put together, it's nice and heavy. It has beautiful drape. So let's add another, shall we? Let's put this one down here. Okay, so I'm technically working diagonal just because we need to do the 4 to show you all the things you need to know for join as you go. So we're going to do the same thing as this one up here. We're going to complete 1, 2 sides, okay? This 1, 2 sides, attach this one and come back down this way. Now, I guess some of you are probably wondering, why don't you just do 3 sides, Mallory? Why don't you do 1, 2, 3, and then crochet them together? Well, because when you get to the corner, you end up having to put a slip knot and it doesn't work out. So you always have to make sure that you have one side left to go after you've attached your circle to your square, okay? So you always have to make sure, I don't know if that makes sense. So you always have to make sure that you have one side left to crochet after your circle has been attached to a square, all right? So keep that in mind. So for your outside squares, it usually means that you always have to crochet 2 sides first, attach the 3rd side, and then finish off your 4th, okay? So we are going to join our color, whatever color you would like, into whichever space you would like. And we're going to do the same thing we just did. Chain 3 and work 2 trebles. Chain 3 and work 3 trebles. Okay, into this next space, we're going to work our double crochets. And then our half double crochets. So we work from big to small to big again. Okay, so double crochets. And that's what creates that really awesome square. A very square square, if you will. Our trebles. Need more yarn. There we go. One, two, 3 in the corner there. And do 3 more to complete your second corner here. Okay, so I don't know, maybe you can visualize it. So we've done our bottom, we're going to work up our side, attach, and then finish off. All right, work our doubles. And it really does seem complicated to maybe watch and you're like, what on earth? How does she keep track of it? But once you do it, it's one of those things that just becomes so obvious and just second nature. Okay, so we're at the spot where we join, all right? So I worked my 3 trebles and now I'm going to chain 1. Now this is a fun one because we're not going to slip stitch into our adjacent square. We're going to actually slip stitch into our diagonal square, okay? So whenever you have 3 corners that are coming together, or 4 corners for that matter, you're gonna try and, whenever possible, crochet or slip stitch into your diagonal square. And this makes it nice and secure, okay? Otherwise it gets too bunchy and you end up falling apart and there's like a gaping hole. So whenever you can, or whenever there's 3 corners, go into your diagonal corner. So that's this one over here, the light pink. So just like before, we insert hook top to bottom, yarn over and pull through, and then we're just gonna chain 1, okay? So that's on there. Now, oh, I pulled it right off. Chain 1, and we're going to work our 3 treble crochets into this corner. Okay, so that's your first corner join there. And then we're going to work into our space, insert that hook, yarn over, and pull through. Just like so. Cinch it up so it's nice and tight, and work your 3 double crochets. Okay, insert top to bottom, pull through, and work our half double crochets. Same thing, insert, cinch, and doubles. insert, cinch, and trebles. Okay, so we've made it to our next corner. So we're going to chain one. Now we obviously don't have a diagonal square to work into, right? So we're just going to pop it into this corner here. Don't overthink it. Just pop it in there and move on. All right, don't let it get too confusing. Finish those 3 trebles up here. And work across the top. We're going to finish it off. Our 3 double crochets, our 3 half doubles, and our 3 doubles. Okay, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 right here. Make sure you get 2 loops so you don't get pulls in your squares. Cut your yarn and fasten off. Okay, like before, we're going to flip it over and get that end in there. You'll thank me later. Every time you sew in an end, you'll hear Mallory's voice in your head going, sew in those ends. Don't be like me. Okay. My square knot, if you guys don't know how to do a square knot, it's right over left and then left over right. It's a sailing knot. For those of you who don't know me, I am a sailor. It's one of those knots that you should definitely know. It's a nice secure knot. And then I just weave it back and forth a couple times. Gets pretty hard to do with 2 at the same time. Jam them in there. There we go. And cinch it off. Don't mind my giant scissors. Look at those bad boys. My husband bought me those as like a stocking stuffer for Christmas. They're not cute and dainty, but you know what? They're super sharp and they do the trick, so we'll keep them. All right, we're on to our 3rd. Now this is the exciting one, okay? Now we're like in the inside of the blanket. Okay, we've done our corner. Now we're on the inside. So this is what we have to do. Up one side, attach our 2nd side, attach our 3rd side, and then we work back along the bottom. So we only have to complete one side on this one. You guys see it? Do you see it? These are the fun ones. I don't know, I always feel like they go by faster. Probably not, but let's just say they do. So attach your yarn into any space wherever you'd like. Chain 3 and work your trebles into that corner there. Chain 3 and 3 more trebles. Okay, we're going to work our 3 double crochets. Can you guys see that? Sorry if this yarn is a little hard on the eyes or makes your eyes a little bit wonky. It's Red Heart Super Saver in Grenadine, and boy, it is pink. Very pink. It shows up a little bit red on the camera, actually. That could just be the shadow. But let me assure you, it is very pink. So I just worked our half doubles. We're going to do our double crochets again, 3 of them. We're coming up on our first corner, so we're going to work the first half of that corner. So So our first 3 trebles. And chain 1, okay? Bring this down into screen here. We're gonna attach it up here, okay? See that? So I'm gonna flip this just so that I'm not reaching across. We're going to dive into that corner there, scoop up the yarn, cinch it down, and chain 1, okay? Complete your trebles. 1, 2, and 3. So there we are. We're going to keep working across here till we get to the corner. So insert your yarn into the space, yarn over and pull up your loop, and work your double crochets. Insert your hook, pull it through, and work your half doubles. Insert your hook, pull through, and 3 double crochets. Insert your hook and pull through. And now we're going to work our trebles, our first 3 trebles of the corner, okay? 1, oops, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now we've got 3 corners here. So what are we going to do? We're going to go into our diagonal. So we're going to go over here. All right. This one we attached over here, this one to this one. So now this one goes to that one. That makes it nice and secure. Of course, my yarn's all knotted up. There we go. Cinch it down and chain 1. We're gonna complete, if you can see it, we're gonna complete our corner here, okay? Work our 3 treble crochets. See that? Now we're working down the side over here. So we're going to insert into this bright pink, pull up our loop and cinch. And we're going to work our double crochets. And then we're going to insert, just keep going. And do our half doubles. Double crochets. And our trebles. We're just going to do the first 3. First 3 trebles and chain 1. Chain 1, okay? We have to attach it to this corner up here, all right? In it goes. And chain 1. Finish off that corner with 3 trebles. And then we're going to work across the top to finish it off. So 3 doubles. Oh my. Get in there. Three half doubles. And 3 doubles. we made it back to the end. We're going to slip stitch to the top of your chain 3 here, pull through, and cut your yarn. Fasten off, and you did it. All right. Let's sew that end in. Sew it in, get it in there. I always do it the same way, a creature of habit. I go down through the top of the stitches here and I pull pretty tight because I want to get rid of that knot. It creates a little bit of a bump and it drives me crazy, so I cinch it down pretty tight. I work back and forth through this corner stitches here. Got to do my little square knot, right over left, okay, and then left over right. Beauty. Oops. Ooh, it's hard to get in there, Okay, that's good enough. It's just for the purposes of this tutorial, really. Okay. There you have it, guys. You did it. 4 beautiful squares joined together. Look at that. And you killed 2 birds with 1 stone by completing your rounds and attaching them at the same time. Gotta love that, right? Less ends to sew in, and you're using less yarn. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one.